Modern Star Trek's 10 Greatest Classic Era Easter Eggs. One of the great joys of modern Star Trek is that it never truly forgets its past. Since the franchise's revival with J.J. Abrams' 2009 film and the streaming era series that followed, Star Trek, Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, and Prodigy, Trek has balanced reinvention with reverence. New ships, new crews, and new storytelling styles have emerged, but the DNA of the original series, TOS, and the 1990s classic era still runs deep. For longtime fans, Easter eggs are more than cute references. They're connective tissue across decades of storytelling, rewarding knowledge and reminding us that Star Trek is one long, shared future. The best ones don't just name drop. They deepen themes, reframe history, or emotionally link generations of characters. Here are 10 of modern Star Trek's greatest classic era Easter eggs. Moments where the new Trek lovingly reached back to the old and made the galaxy feel whole. 1. Pike's beach chair destiny, Discovery, and Strange New Worlds. Perhaps no Easter egg has loomed larger over modern Trek than Captain Christopher Pike's fate. First seen in the original unaired pilot The Cage, 1965, and later in The Menagerie, Pike was left horrifically injured, confined to a life support chair that allowed him to communicate only by beeps. Star Trek Discovery reintroduced Pike, Anson Mount, to a new generation and did something bold. It made his tragic future a core part of his character. When Pike experiences a time crystal vision on Borth showing his eventual accident, modern Trek turns a 1960s plot device into a meditation on sacrifice and destiny. Strange New Worlds builds on this by showing Pike consciously choosing the path that leads to his suffering because it saves others. What was once a strange sci-fi contrivance becomes a heroic moral anchor. The Easter egg isn't just visual, it's existential. 2. The Enterprise reimagined, Discovery, and Strange New Worlds. When the USS Enterprise and CC-1701 finally appeared at the end of Discovery Season 1, fans collectively held their breath. The original Enterprise is sacred iconography, and redesigning it risks backlash. Modern Trek threaded the needle. The updated Enterprise keeps the silhouette, proportions, and spirit of Matt Jeffries' original design while adding contemporary detail. The bridge in Strange New Worlds echoes TOS colors and layout, red rails, colorful stations, and a captain's chair that feels gloriously retro, yet looks believable in high definition. This is an Easter egg on a massive scale. A love letter in starship form. It tells fans, yes, this is the same ship Kirk will one day command. 3. Spock's human-Vulcan duality, across multiple series. Spock's inner conflict between logic and emotion define TOS. Modern Trek repeatedly nods to this by exploring earlier phases of his life. In Discovery, we see Spock's complicated relationship with his foster sister Michael Burnham, adding new context to his emotional guardedness. Strange New Worlds leans further, sometimes humorously, into Spock's struggle, showing him in romantic situations, body swaps, and moments where his humanity peeks through. These are Easter eggs not tied to props or lines, but to characterization. They enrich Nimoy's original performance by showing how long Spock has wrestled with identity. Every moment of emotional vulnerability in modern Trek echoes the Spock who once said, "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few." 4. The return of classic aliens, Discovery, S&W, Picard. Modern Trek delights in bringing back classic species, often with updated looks that still honor their origins. The Andorians in Discovery and S&W retain their antennae and icy demeanor. The Tellarites reappear with improved prosthetics, but the same argumentative culture. The Gorn in Strange New Worlds reemerge as terrifying predators, reinterpreting the famously rubber-suited TOS foe into something genuinely alien and frightening. Each return is an Easter egg that doubles as world building. These species aren't relics. They're still political players, still shaping the Federation. The galaxy feels continuous because its inhabitants are. 5. The Kobayashi Maru, Star Trek 2009 and Prodigy. The Kobayashi Maru test, introduced in The Wrath of Khan, is one of Trek's most famous concepts. A no-win scenario meant to test character. The 2009 film replays the test and shows Kirk cheating by reprogramming the simulation, directly referencing his backstory. It's a playful yet meaningful nod to his legendary rule-breaking. Star Trek Prodigy later uses a Kobayashi Maru-style training simulation where Dahl encounters holographic versions of legacy characters like Spot, Scotty, and Crusher. It's both an Easter egg buffet and a thematic reminder. Starfleet is built on the lessons of those who came before. 6. The musical DNA. Strange New Worlds. TOS occasionally embraced the musical, whether through Uhura's singing or the famous space hippie jam session in The Way to Eden. Strange New Worlds takes this spirit and runs with it in its full musical episode, Subspace Rhapsody. While not a direct remake, the episode feels like a loving nod to Trek's long-standing willingness to be weird. It channels the experimental energy of TOS, where genre bending was part of the charm. The Easter egg here is tonal. It reminds us that Star Trek has always been playful, theatrical, and unafraid to sing among the stars. 7. The D-7 battlecruiser, Discovery. When the Klingon D-7 battlecruiser finally appears in Discovery, it's a triumphant moment for design continuity. The D-7 is one of the most recognizable ships from TOS, and its sleek, predatory shape screams classic Trek. Despite Discovery's earlier Klingon redesign controversies, the D-7's appearance reassured fans that the